The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Coming up tonight, former Tourism Minister Dionisio Diaguila on the Baha Mar ruling. He's speaking out on the stalling of payment, which is gaining interest daily. Diaguila also has questions on the status of the Grand Lucayan Resort and much more. Also, he asks once again a question asked weeks ago. Will Killarney MP Dr. Hubert Minnis stand down for the sake of the F&M? We get into it tonight. Also tonight, take a look at this photo. It's right here. This is a photo taken at LPIA, as many of you can recognize. It's something that is aggravating for many Bahamians. Look closely, just come real close. Reportedly, these are Haitians online waiting to enter or be granted entry into the Bahamas. And of course, they're at the airport. And the question tonight is how are they entering with passports and a residency status and so much more? We get into this evening. Of course, I made attempts to reach out to immigration officials. No such luck. But tonight we will get into this. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. We are going to begin this evening with former Tourism Minister Dionisio Diaguila, and it's really good to have you here. Good evening to you. Thank you very much for being here because you have been quite vocal about something that is key to our tourism industry. It's already established, well, running, operating daily, but there's this court case and court ruling behind the major resort that sits out west. And so even this week alone, you've called and insisted that the court ruling in favor of Sarkis Ismailian, the original, I guess, visionary and developer of Baha Mar, be honored. Yet that's not happened. In fact, it's been many months now since the ruling. And the payment, which is in excess of $1.6 billion, continues to stall.
Well, it continues to accrue interest at 9% daily. Mm-hmm. The Chinese have been found guilty of fraud and breach of contract. They caused the delay of that project. The Bahamian economy suffered for 2 years while that project languished. And you could see how big it is. The GDP impact of delaying that for 2 years was huge. Mm-hmm. And they went to court. They had their day in court. Mr. Ismailian was found to be honorable, lived up to his part of the deal, and the judge awarded him $1.6 billion. Yes. Found the Chinese to be guilty of fraud and breach of contract. So they appealed. Mm-hmm. They went to the appeal court. I mean, I've never seen a court of appeal in the United States act so quickly. It was almost like a month later.
Yes.
They heard the case, found him guilty again. Mm-hmm. And now they wiggling, and they worming, and they ducking, and they diving. They declare bankruptcy, and they talking about this, and they talking about that. But the bottom line is that they defrauded that man out of his money, out of his project.
How does he feel this evening and at this point? Because who then turns around to enforce this ruling to ensure that this man is paid his just due?
You know what I find unbelievable is that these companies are owned by the Chinese government. Could you imagine a company owned by the Bahamian government go to court and say the United States found guilty, they appeal, they found guilty again, and the Bahamian government ducking the payment? No, they'd step in.
No.
You would have to step in and settle this. The size of the Chinese economy is 3.3 trillion. They got 1.6 billion people. They got lots of money. Settle this. Let this man, people always think I toting water for him. And I'm not toting water for him.
No, but I think you're speaking on something that is just is the right thing to do.
Yes, and I think that he every time I pass that hotel, I think it's because of him. His dream, his vision, that we are benefiting, this country is benefiting every single day. And he had his day in court. They found without a shadow of doubt that these people committed fraud, defrauded, breach of contract. I remember in the ruling they said, we won't, just the Chinese now say, we won't continue on this project unless you pay us $56 million. So he paid them the $56 million. Mm-hmm. What he did with the money? They went and bought the Hilton. Instead of paying the vendors, they went and bought the Hilton. And so the project stalled. They sent 800 workers home for Chinese New Year. And so the project didn't open. And he said, look what's going on. They said, boy, we don't know when it's going to open. Anyway, you just got to sit small till we ready for you. But they underestimated him, you know. That man, he could be on them
he
like
certainly
a
had
mosquito.
Because he stuck with it. He fought. It took years to come to this point, but he finally got his due, his just day and his time in court.
Now what they're doing is they're saying, okay, we'll be declaring bankruptcy now. We ain't got no assets. China, Construction America, we ain't got nothing to give you. So what he's attempting to do now is to what they call pierce the corporate veil, i.e. go up to the parent company where all the assets are and tell them, listen here, get the court to tell them to pay him. So that's what he's attempting to do now in order to have his day.
Where is he in that aspect?
Well, I think he just appealed to the court. He said, look, the CCA, the company that he dealt with, they ain't doing nothing for him. They ain't even checking for him. They ain't got no interest in dealing with him. They ducking and weaving around him. And so he's like, okay, well, you know, court, these people are not looking to make good on my award. So let's go to the parent. And the ultimate parent is the government of China. And, you know, what this demonstrates is that if you do business with the Chinese and you all end up having a divorce, the Chinese government, they get wiggle and they get worm out of that. So you got to be careful with them. This is a horrible case of a subsidiary of the Chinese government that's gone wrong, and they're not honoring what the court has instructed them to pay. Now, you know, they can say, oh, we still need our day in court, and we still fighting it and all the rest of it, but, you know.
Do you think they plan on appealing on some other level somewhere,
well,
somehow?
They declared bankruptcy to try to protect them, and, you know, they got all the subsidiaries, and, you know, they ducking and diving. That's what they do.
So then, Ismailian, who had such grand hopes and that the vision that we see and we drive by daily, as you said, what state of mind is he in? Does he still have maybe thoughts and plans and a vision for doing something else?
Yeah, I mean, he has gone off into other projects. I mean, you can Google his companies now, and I think he's doing a project in South Florida, and he's doing a project in continental Europe. So he's moved on from that. But, you know, you got to imagine, he lives here, and every day he drives to town, he is look at that and say to himself, you know, look at what I created, and I never for one day had the benefit of this.
Yeah,
so
it
is most unfortunate.
Yeah,
you know, he just wants closure.
Yes.
Pay me my money. Yeah. You be in the court. We fight. I win.
Yeah.
You go on to appeal. I win again. Come, let's settle.
Well, this is something we have discussed numerous times on this show, the whole Baha Mar, Ismailian court battle and all the rest of it, the rulings as well, and exactly what's to come out of it, the $1.6 ruling, just all of it. We have paid attention to and followed that on the show, and we're just quite happy to hear you kind of bring it up again, because you would figure it was kind of being settled.
Yeah, and what I find, you know, particularly distasteful is the fact that they bamboozled the Bahamian government as well. You know, we all thought that the government, you know, just the government of China. I mean, who you could believe? You could believe the government of China. And we got sucked into that vortex. And come to find out, breach of contract, fraud. Oh my God, we backed the wrong people. But anyway.
Anyways, let's move on, because we have so much more to get to. I want to talk to you about, because on this week, and I've interviewed during the closing when it was announced, residents, business owners, taxi drivers on the island of Exuma with the Sandals closure. And of course, it was going to be a few months ahead when construction for a new rebranded resort was to start. That's not happened. Those residents are now speaking out again, asking, can we please get an update? What can you say? I know as former tourism minister, you do monitor and pay attention still, and then you kind of know the ins and outs and those things that those of us on the outside looking in would not know as it relates to tourism and resorts and that kind of thing. What are you hearing in terms of Sandals Exuma and what's happening there?
So obviously, when the hotel was closed, the government indicated that they would be closed for 8 months, and then they would start a reconstruction of the project and convert it from a Sandals into a Beaches. So a Beaches is a family type product, as opposed to Sandals is couples. So they were going to convert it and they were going to expand it, and they were going to add rooms. Well, to date, nothing is happening. So everybody is naturally going, you know, what's going on? What is the problem? And mum's the word. Nobody's saying anything. So I think they're probably in a negotiation. and that negotiation has not yet been settled.
Yeah.
I'm sure Sandals has certain asks, which the Bahamian government is probably grappling with, and but they need to say something, because clearly the 8 months have gone by.
Yeah.
And make no doubt about it, Sandals was very successful at running that hotel. Remember, we had 4 seasons there?
Yes.
And they failed.
Yeah.
Sandals stepped in, bought
Emerald
it.
Bay was...
Yeah, and they used to run over 90% occupancy in that hotel every single day of the year. I mean, they filled that thing every time. And that was the engine of the economy in Exuma.
In Exuma, absolutely.
Yeah.
Everything worked around Emerald Bay.
You could attract airlift, and so all the other hotels, Airbnbs, could benefit from the airlift that was being created to service the Sandals property. And to date, nothing is going on. So, I'm sure it'd be interesting to speak to the owners of Sandals. And, the son of Butch, Adam Stewart, his wife was Bahamian. So, he has a connection to this country.
Yeah.
So it's odd to me that this project is not proceeding. And
do you think it has anything to do with the outstanding, remember the VAT bill, I think around $30 million outstanding in VAT that Sandals reportedly owes to the Bahamian government. Do you think perhaps that could be a part of what this whole standoff is?
Yes, well, I do, and I'm glad you brought it up and not me. So I think that, when you book a hotel at Sandals, you pay into a central booking office, and then they assign a value to the hotel room, and you pay VAT on that. And I'm sure in the eyes of the Bahamian government, Sandals was very aggressive in what price they assigned to the room. And so they're at loggerheads over what it should have been, and then you go by retroactive, and then you got one big number. And so Sandals is, why did they suddenly decide to close the hotel? Were they up?
It was quite suspicious.
Yeah, so they're obviously very, very, I don't know. I don't know for sure.
Yeah,
we have conjecture,
here, but again,
but something is afoot there.
Yes.
And it behooves the government to sort that out.
Because no sooner had that headline and information come out, Sandals say, guess what, we closed and we have to renovate.
So sometimes
and then, by the way, we are rebranding.
Sometimes you bite off your nose to spite your face. You say, okay, you owe that, and then they shut down. And every day that was generating GDP, that was generating jobs, that was generating income, that was generating VAT, that was import duties. All of that was being generated, and now nothing.
I want to quickly move forward because I have a big question to ask you about your statement a few weeks ago. But just very quickly, the Grand Lucayan Resort. I know that you are also watching that as well as are many other people.
Yeah, the Grand Lucayan. I think the mistake that the government keeps making is they keep saying, it coming. We got a deal. We signed a deal. And, they haven't been able to produce, according to the papers, what I read, just what you read, the money that's been received. It seems a bit unclear on the company that they've signed a deal with. When are they going to proceed? That company is saying, look, we ain't going to move. We ain't going to move until we get the airport done. And so, it's very unclear. It's muddy again. And, we're getting ready for an election. So, government is saying things to give the people hope. But what gives people hope is when you see activity on the ground.
When you see something happening.
Yeah. So we don't know that the airport in Grand Baha Mar has not been addressed. It still seems to be in flux. There's no announcement on that. And the hotel, while they have signed a deal, now that the person they've signed a deal with is now backtracking and say, well, we ain't doing nothing until they fix the airport.
Yeah.
So now you're like, so do you have a deal or what? Thank God for Celebration Key. That's all I can say.
I tell you, that is actually making things happen in Grand Baha Mar. And we heard the Grand Baha Mar Port Authority talk about other projects as well. So we look forward to seeing it all come because we're rooting for Grand Baha Mar, quite frankly.
Absolutely.
But let's just, one person you are not rooting for. Let's get to this real quickly. Talk to Hubert Minnis. Of course, he is the Member of Parliament for Killarney by all intents and purposes. And what we can see, he is also gearing up for another election season, meaning he plans on running. In fact, he's made that clear, quite frankly. Who, we don't know, but the FNM has told him certainly not on this ticket. Then you said, Dr. Minnis, how, sir, about you being the nice guy and actually standing down and let the FNM have a chance? What do you mean? What did you mean by that?
Well, in my view, and this is my view, Dr. Minnis has benefited enormously from the Free National Movement. They elected him the leader. They worked assiduously to have him, his government win in 2017, and he became the prime minister. he is in a very special club in this country, a club of 4. And he served in the highest office of this land. And no doubt about it, it's obviously partly him, but also because he represented the F&M brand. And he won. And now, you know, we decided in 2021, the voters decided they're done with him. The voters.
Yes.
They sent us all home.
Mm-hmm.
I went home too.
I know.
So, and then the Free National Movement gathered, and they voted for a new leader. Okay, so Michael Pintard was elected the leader of the Free National Movement, not once, twice. Okay, and in the last election last year, he won 75% of the vote, and Dr. Minnis won 25% of the vote.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
But do you think that he has leadership dreams and visions again, or this man is just trying to say, listen, this is what I love. I've served these people, I think it's four consecutive election terms, and let me do what it is I want to do. And also, get this what others are saying as well. Dionisio Diagula and the others, aren't you all the best? How are you all so ungrateful? Because after all, Dr. Minnis gave y'all an opportunity, had y'all as cabinet ministers, had y'all as members of parliament, and here y'all are kicking this man to the curb and telling this man stand down.
You know, we all stood down, okay? We all got sent home, okay, fine. The Bahamian people, without a shadow of doubt, told us that they did not like him and his policies. And we went from 35 down to 7. Mm-hmm. It was a shellacking.
And now down to what?
Huh?
Now down. Let's
forget. So he went down to 7, and you know, we have had an opportunity to pick a new leadership. Mm-hmm. Dr. Minnis and the new leadership, you know, they ain't gelling.
No, they're not.
They're not gelling at all, and he knows that.
Mm-hmm.
He knows all that they ain't gelling.
No, they're not.
And so,
do you think it's ugly though? Do you think that is a distraction that this F&M,
yes,
under this leadership does not need, because
correct,
it seems to continue. This F&M, would you agree or say or add on to say that it still appears to be sort of fumbling and stumbling along,
no,
and certainly it does not need a Hubert Minnis to I don't know what, outshine it or something?
People are saying that we're disunified, and Dr. Minnis's position is contributing to that, right?
It is.
And we're not disunified. 75% of the people voted for Michael Pintard. We're clear on who our leader is. He's taking us into the next general election. That's clear as day, right? And so, you know, Dr. Minnis, you have, I always ask this question. Does Dr. Minnis really just want to stay on the scene to be an MP? I mean, he's not going to be Prime Minister.
No.
Because he's not leader of the Free National Movement.
Right.
And he's not leader of the Progressive Liberal Party. And he ain't leader of no party to be no upright.
What is wrong with...
So does he really want to go from the highest office in the land?
Yes.
Where he's the Prime Minister.
Yes.
In the middle of it, making all the decisions, just to sit in the back there and, you know, let people come to him and say, fix my road, and put speed bump here? And
what kind of...
Is that what he wants to do?
Perhaps.
No.
Perhaps.
No.
But
and so let me say something too.
Go ahead.
If I had an employee at Superwash, right, who is constantly working against me, who clearly ain't on my run, and I'm the president of Superwash, and I got this employee, my vice president, who clearly running, you know, ain't on my run, trying to thwart every move that I make, ain't walking lockstep with me, ain't coming to no meeting with me, ducking and weaving around me.
But of course, no, you
know I can fire him,
You
right?
don't need
so
to have that person anywhere around you.
And Dr. Minnis, all I'm asking is, you know, you've served in the highest office of the land. Do the honorable thing. What, you're 73, you're going to be 73 years old at the next election. You served for 20 years as the Member of Parliament for Kalani. We're thankful. We're grateful. I'm grateful for what he did for me.
Are you a resident of Kalani?
I am a resident of Kalani.
What kind of MP has he been?
He's been very good. But the fact of the matter is now, but he ain't working with the leadership of the Free National Movement.
Listen, I want you to listen to this. Justin, let's just play a little clip of this, and I want to get his response to this, because I don't know if right now, tonight, sitting here, Dionisio Diagula is vexing many people who might be watching in Kalani. But let's just play just a few seconds.
Ladies, today was our first campaign. How did it go?
It was great.
Wonderful?
Yes.
Are we going to keep Kalani strong?
Yes. Forever.
Nice. Did you enjoy our walk today?
Really did.
Wonderful.
Kalani strong, yes indeed.
Kalani strong. Now, Miss Grace, we're out here today sharing some flyers and letting people know about an event that's coming up on Saturday. Can you tell us what's happening on Saturday?
Yes, it's the Back to School giveaway, and we're really, really excited about it. We've been through the neighborhoods and by the major food stores, and we have all these supporters here here standing with Dr. Minnis, Kalani Strong.
Yes, Kalani Strong. Absolutely, absolutely.
You saw a portion of that video, Kalani Strong. By the way, will you be at the back to school event on Saturday?
Ladies, are we-
No. I don't have no children at back to school age.
Just stop by. Just stop by.
I might go and see my former boss. Say hello. See what is what.
Will you be on the ground campaigning this election season?
Yes, I will. I will be supporting the Free National Movement.
With this yellow band on your hand?
Huh? Oh no, this I got this somewhere else. This ain't nothing to do with that. This is yeah, but yes, I will be supporting the Free National Movement, and I hope and pray that he does the honorable thing, but I think the die is cast, as they say, and I think he's already out of the gate, clearly, as you showed today. But it's most unfortunate.
Former tourism minister and member of parliament Dionisio D'Aguilar on really mainly tourism issues, but of course I had to ask him about his statement and plea to say, Dr. Minnis, come on, let's
come with me. Let's go mind grandchildren things.
Beyond the Headlines is back right after this. I'll ask the Hot Topics panel about this when we come back right after this.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading cancer care and research networks from coast to coast, providing more of what you need. More locations means more care closer to home. More specialists means more expertise. More research means more breakthroughs. More advancements means more treatment options. And more options means more hope. Call now to get more of the care you need.
Comfort Suites Paradise Island is the best kept secret in the Bahamas. Located directly next door to the Atlantis Resort, you'll receive all the privileges of an Atlantis guest with all the benefits of a Comfort Suite stay. Enjoy everything Atlantis has to offer, including Aquaventure Water Park, plus all the amenities of Comfort Suites. Free Wi-Fi, free breakfast daily, and kids stay, play, and eat free. Visit ComfortSuitesPI.com.
Hey guys! The IL Cares Foundation invites you to our Back to School giveaway on August 23rd at the University of the Bahamas, Poinciana Drive entrance. Join us for a day of free school supplies, food, and fun as we help prepare students for a successful school year. We are also going to be on the Family Islands on August 23rd from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. All are welcome! So come on down and support the community with IL Cares. At IL Cares, we care.
Watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
This segment is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
I don't know if we have time.
What we skip now? Oh, identity documents.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. It's good to have you all back with us. Of course, you all know the discussion continues during the breaks, and so, but we're going to get right back on track. I'm going to jump in because I want to first ask the Hot Topics panelists about maybe just one or two things that former tourism minister D'Aguila had to say, and then we're going to go into something you saw this here blown up. I mean, in almost life size that I showed at the top of tonight's show. This here is a vexing issue for so many people, and we will really get into this. You see this? We'll tell you about this. Mr. Sweeting, that's his last name right there, Sweeting. You know, we talked about. I'll tell you this. We talked about many foreigners taking on Bahamian names, and it's almost insulting because Bahamians are now saying, what do they have to do to preserve their family legacy? The one went and say Pinlin.
Davis.
And the Chinese named Davis, and everybody. Listen, there's a whole lot going on. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines, Leslie Miller and Gabrielle McKenzie. It's good to have you both here. Good evening to you.
Good evening.
I just want to, at the top of tonight's show, we talked about from the Baha Mar ruling. Of course, you heard about Ismailian, who seemed to be still stuck in trying to fully get what it is that the court ruled in his favor of. Of course, we talked about the Sandals Resort. Dionisio also mentioned very briefly about the nation needing, and Grand Bahama in particular, needing an update on the Grand Lucayan Resort and deal. And then, of course, some politics, Killarney. And so, but you all, you know what's interesting, because I know the people of Exuma really wanted this rebranding of what was Sandals to work, and to work quickly, because again, it was the hub, or it is the hub of the Exuma economy. Your thoughts on what really needs to happen there to get those people hopeful again and to get that resort open again?
Well, Shanique, good evening, Bahamas. Sandals has been, like D'Aguila mentioned, a critical part of Exuma's economy. But the thing with Sandals now is they're thrown into a legal battle. This thing isn't just where the government can step in and say X, Y, Z. Right now, Gordon Butch Stewart's son, Adam Stewart, and his, I believe, Butch Stewart's third wife now, the court made a ruling, I think it was as early as last year, 2024, and granted her, I believe, ownership of that property now. So it's really up to Mistress Stewart on what she
is tied up in a family row.
In a family brawl. In a family brawl on who is the owner of this property. I know Justice Winder would have made a ruling at some point in 2024 as well on this. So everyone is just going to be at a standstill until they decide what they really want to do with this property.
And as Mr. D'Aguila alluded to, it really came about with the charges that Sandals was charging their guests. And the wife in the States is saying that she don't think that she got her fair share because it went through this central agency, as you alluded to, Mr. D'Aguila alluded to. And she feels that she was robbed. So she's now closing everything down until she gets what she's demanding. It's a family, it's an internal family squabble.
Yes.
And we're the beneficiaries of something that is not good for us.
Yeah, that was playing out quite nasty then. I mean, it's the people of Exuma, you know what's if there's a silver lining, many of them were from Grand Bahama originally, and they have returned because Grand Bahama's economy is now turned the corner and doing well. And so they have returned to Grand Bahama and work. I've heard this from several people in Grand Bahama, of many people returning home. And so a number of them were employed, as I said, at Sandals Exuma. But the people of Exuma, though, obviously are saying, what's happening? Kindly get this together, because they are waiting for that resort to return.
Maybe the government can invest in now looking at that Airbnb market, bed and breakfasts, to boost that economy, because Exuma has so much to offer. Exuma is a beautiful place, breathtaking beaches, everything. I just love Exuma. So if we really can, this is the time for us to now invest in our own people. There are a lot of persons with land, generational property in Exuma. Let's start investing in them. Let's get these bed and breakfasts up and let them fill the gap and the void that Sandals would have filled during that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are a number of exclusive boutique hotels on the drawing board for Exuma. And, obviously they are awaiting different levels of approvals, but it needs to happen. But let's just move forward. This is an issue, illegal immigration. that has been predicted right here on this show. That will be one of the hot button issues this election season. And just like we prophesied, it didn't it, right? So last week, employees from Bahamas Air reached out to the show and contributor Leslie Miller in particular, giving him some pertinent information that raises even more questions about just how many illegal Haitians are entering the country on a weekly and monthly basis, many of them with passports and residency status, many of them not knowing how to say hello in English. They come and they say bonjour. They come and they say that. Of course, those workers reached out to you, Leslie. I want to bring you in right now. What was said to you? We see these photographs that you were sent. We see the passport. Let's start there with this passport, this large picture of the passport, and explain what's happened here.
Shanique, I was more than surprised and bewildered.
Hold it up a little higher.
When someone gave me this photo. The guy name is Brzezinski Sweeting. I mean, how the hell do you get a Haitian name Brzezinski?
He sounds Russian and Bahamian.
Russian and Bahamian.
Yeah.
How does that happen? But you ever heard of Haitian in your life named Brzezinski?
No, sir.
Okay?
No, sir.
And he has a passport from 2002, dated February 2002, expires on 2032. People from Bahamas just say, when he came in, they asked him, what's your name again? Me, Sweden. Mm-hmm. Who the hell is Sweden? Mm-hmm. And they said, well, where are you from? Me from Haiti. I'm Sweden. So everybody, looking and gazed. You don't have no Swedens in Haiti.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a French name.
He probably was in the newspaper already, Mr. Villa. He was already in the newspaper.
There's one the other day. There's a couple of them now.
Every time you open the newspaper, it's about 20 of them changing their names, putting into the minister, writing to the minister to have their names changed to more Bahamian last names. So we are definitely being invaded. And this isn't about xenophobia. This isn't about us versus them. This is about protecting the future of our nation, for our children and our grandchildren. This is out of control. I'm talking about plane loads every day. They have about, 3 flights, Mr. Miller?
4 flights a week.
4 flights a week coming in to the Bahamas, loaded down. Who is keeping tabs on these persons?
And see, let's stick a pin right there, because you see, I have heard, while on vacation, I've heard this discussion has been happening everywhere. We know when we go to the United States, we are to provide a specific address of where we are staying. Yep. I understand that people just say East Street. So where on East Street?
Well, Carmichael Road.
They just go, and this is the address they give. Who follows up? And you see, the thing is, it's hard-pressed these days to find this information from the Ministry or Department of Immigration. Who follows up with them? Who follows up to see where they live, how long they stay? And then the bigger question, Leslie and Gabrielle, how are they gaining passports coming or residency status coming out of Haiti? We have known, and it's been printed in Haiti. So how is that happening? What we need from the Department of Immigration are answers. That is what we need, answers to explain to us what the policies are, what the regulations. Can a family member here, for example, who is already a citizen or a resident, then go and apply for a relative in Haiti? Is that what's happening? I mean, it's happening in overwhelming numbers, because if you all look around the world, right now, the great United States that we thought we would have never seen, everyone is anxiously guarding their sovereignty. Illegal immigration has become a burden everywhere. So therefore, this is what those nations are doing. But the Bahamas appear lax, or are we for sale? Are many of us just selling our birthright?
What is interesting, speaking with the people out there at the airport, Bahamas Air people as well as immigration upstairs. They say the flight comes in 3 times a week. I think it's Tuesday, Thursday, and 2 on Saturday. Loaded on. I think Bahamas Air brings in 164 or 184 at a time. It consists of about 50% are grown men, I suppose workers, 30% are women, many of them pregnant.
Oh, wow.
That's another thing. That's another thing that we've got to watch. Because listen, because as you put it right there, You see, Trump is trying, I forgot what the term is called, but before we could get pregnant and go to the U.S. and sneak in and sit low and have American babies, he is stopping that, and I don't blame him. So what are we doing? Allowing those pregnant women to come here to give birth so that they can have at least be on the path to automatic citizenship at a certain age?
And they're saying another 20% are little children between the age of 5 to 10.
So that means our schools now,
With
not
passport, this other document.
Belongers permit.
And there's a lady that comes out.
Is it belongers permit?
I don't know what the hell it is, but there's a lady that comes out and meet them. A young girl that they pulled off the plane last week. 17-year-old girl who didn't want to come off the plane.
But you see, that is frightening because as we know, fake papers.
Papers would not, okay?
What is frightening?
Was not accepting. They put her back on the plane and get out of here.
Well, it's good to know that they're turning people around, but
by people outside.
But who's accompanying those kids? You see, because the United Nations, this is all kind of things happening. We are not to have kids entering this country not accompanied by an adult or nothing properly structured, because then you fall in line and under scrutiny of having a number of things going on that we don't want to be attached to
the adults
as
are
a
waiting
nation.
For them, Shanique. They're waiting for them. They know who somebody's coming to pick them up from the airport. Somebody's directing them of where to go, what to do. And check September. Our schools, the school population amount of enrollment from these persons not having national insurance numbers or already is anyone following up on the data and statistics of how many persons are being enrolled now from this various population into our school systems? And we already have a screen on where educators are concerned. So how are we going to deal with this September at the beginning of the school year?
Bahamian mothers are complaining now in the Carmichael area that I met one today from Mr. Miller. My daughter was accepted to this new school. Now I went there today and they tell me that she got to go somewhere else because her seat is already taken. And you know, some people say you got a phobia with the Haitians, right? We have nothing against Haitians, you know. I have 2 cousins that are Haitians that my grandfather, Lockhart, adopted. And we treat each other as family because we are family in our hearts and our minds. But you got a country like Bahamas that's been assisting them for over 100 years. Their population is 9.5 million. Ours is 350,000. We cannot take the load anymore. And those who want to get excited about it and say you're being racist and what have you, has nothing to do with it. What is going to happen to our children, grandchildren, and those unborn Bahamians in the next 50 years?
We're going to be the minority.
They will overtake us.
Well,
there's no doubt in my mind.
I'll tell you, when
Bahamian
children are having to go and seek out other schools because they no longer have space in the school in their immediate environment, then that's troubling, and that's something to look at.
But in addition to that, you got these crooked preachers.
What are they doing?
Okay? They're crooked, most of them crooked, eh? Most of them.
What are they doing?
Half of them ain't see God's shadow. Forget his face.
But how much of them y'all give JP license to, Mr. Miller?
Exactly.
How much of them y'all when you were in government, how much first you give out none?
None.
Your government gave out some though.
I wonder, but listen, you know that's the free gift to anybody and under any administration. But the thing about it is, Leslie, what are the preachers doing?
Writing the little note saying he saw this baby born and this baby's Bahamian. For $500, that's what they'll do.
So they are paid.
You hear me?
They're paid to produce those little notes.
Of the peace.
$500.
Any justice of the peace can sign off on it.
Okay?
Yeah.
Look at the situation right now in Turks and Caicos. I was down there a few months ago. Okay? What is the government of Turks Island doing now? Demolishing those homes, the houses that we're doing here in the Bahamas.
Well, we are
demolishing. They couldn't take it no more.
But we are carrying out demolition exercises as well. The thing is, how much further are we going? Are we going with that? How much further? After demolishing the shanty towns.
If we don't put a stop to it, we're going to be overcome.
Are they being deported?
By an element in our country, and our children and great-grandchildren going to come to our graveyard and throw a rock on us, you know. Now they can blame us. Say, you were there. And you did nothing. You were there. You did nothing.
Again, this is the issue. This is the issue.
That's what
they
throw other stuff on us too. But I say rock. No, but they let tell us.
This is the issue right here, everyone.
Something gotta happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I agree. This is the issue, you all, that many people are very concerned about. And it's not, obviously it's become a hot button issue because the election season, but it's not a new one for Bahamians. It's just something that is just more pronounced as nations around the world begin to close in on, not just even in this hemisphere. Look at Europe and see what's going on.
President Trump made it clear.
Yes, he did.
When he was elected. He said by September, I want 250,000 Haitians out of America, and he can do that. Where's he starting? Indiana. You know the rats the dogs would need? Trump said, I got to get them out of there.
Leslie, that was hearsay. I don't know if that was proven.
It doesn't have to be proven in Trump's mind if it's true. Trump says it's true, they believe him. Where do you think most of them heading?
He isn't afraid to do what it takes.
Tell me where they coming. But tell me where they going.
Right to the Bahamas.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, we've heard that they've reached out to our officials to accept a lot of them. Are we taking them?
No, man. No.
What are we?
No, man.
What are we going to do?
Because Prime Minister Davis, who went to some official meeting some time ago, stood on business. He was brave, and he said, "We cannot take on this load and absorb any more."
You did it before. With the criminals of the United States, Canada, and London threw to their country under the last government rule. Mr. Ingram was the prime minister at the time.
What did we do?
They sent them to Barbados. Barbados said, "Let's give me passport. You ain't getting off that plane." They went to Jamaica. Jamaica said the same thing. They came here to Bahamas, and we accepted plane loads of them.
But they have Bahamian passports now, Mr. Miller. So what are we supposed to do with them? Because they're coming in with the passport.
So they come in with Bahamian passports.
So they come in with, how do you deny someone with a legal document?
I wish a committee in this country. You have some of the best lawyers in the world, right? Sit down and do that.
We have to be mindful that as much as we want touristic development, what impacts the fishery? Over-coastal development, destruction of mangroves, overzealousness of the industry. We have a new movement called do-it-yourself fishing. That is anglers who come to the Bahamas, they don't engage in hiring a guide. Because of this approach, you are going to have people who are going to exhaust the resources.
This is an industry that's preserved. It should be for Bahamian guides only. We have the DIYs coming in here, and they're destroying our flats.
We try not to overfish certain areas, so we'll fish a certain area and we'll back off for a while because we don't want the fish to feel too much pressure.
It's not just using the buzzwords of the environment and the ecology. The tourists can be educated that the more you support local ownership, people are doing it obviously the right way, the more the economic circulation in the communities.
I think the most critical thing is accountability, and that accountability by way of legislation, both the Act and regulations to govern fly fishing in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
I look at conservation efforts and the regulation that I've seen to protect the industry that's in the developed world. All of those jurisdictions have implemented strong regulation to protect their fisheries. We are way behind, but we do have a movement and a consciousness. We know where we need to be. Those are our resources, and we have to make an exerted effort to protect it because that's the only gift that we have been given. And if we don't protect that, then we lose everything.
Building the lodge, I understood clearly the mission to continue what my father started. From this lodge, it has served as the headquarters. We finally got legislation passed in 2016, and it legitimized the guiding profession. We pushed to get the program established into BAMSI in the training of the next generation of guides, but it extends way beyond that.
We need more Bahamians in the industry who are doing the research to provide the information to the industry, that is to fishermen and to everybody who benefits from the resources.
We don't know the resources in this country. We grew up just hearing about sun, sand, and sea.
It is going to be through education and awareness, whether it's within our schools, whether it's in our communities, to conserve the environment, that is going to sustain the fly fishing industry.
Well, the future of fly fishing in the company, I think fly fishing is a very, very unique spot. I think it's going to get better because the guides are now being all certified. They're all getting proper knowledge of handling and how to run the whole system.
If you're a youngster and you want to get into this, it's a job like any other job. You got to live it, you got to love it.
young entrepreneurs coming in, you want that kind of interest, you want that kind of drive and desire. You want to carry that. You want to become the product.
So you want a space. But not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
This segment is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
They saw the future. And they did well.
They did. Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. It's good to have you all tuned in. Let's just keep moving. Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson is renewing criticism against Trade Union Congress leader Obi Ferguson, who she says is crying over spilt milk in relation to a pre-election memorandum of understanding that remains a bone of contention for government and the TUC. Ferguson reportedly brought up the MOU in a recent meeting with his members, sounding off on his existing grievances. However, Wilson says Ferguson's issues are personal, while insisting, however, that the pre-election document signed by the then opposition Progressive Liberal Party should be honored by the now governing party.
The Memorandum of Understanding and the articles therein, the Bahamas National Alliance Trade Union Congress and the Bahamas Union of Teachers, we agree with. Let me be clear on that. We agree with. What we disagreed with is the manner in which our leader signed off on a document that we had no information about it. Mr. Ferguson seems to have fallen out of grace with the Prime Minister, who is meeting with one-on-one to try cut his deals. So like I said before, whatever his expectations were, they were not met. However, we, as our Congress, every time we meet with the Prime Minister, with the Minister of Labor or whomever, we stress to them that we want the legislation done. We want, like the hotel union, to be a part of when they're putting together the heads of agreement. We want them to look at the entertainment sector. So the Memorandum of Understanding is a very good document, but it will not be effective unless and until the government keeps up their part of the bargain.
Well, you all heard Wilson there a moment ago touting the Memorandum of Understanding and saying, listen, the document is excellent. It'll be very beneficial if enacted and when. But she also said this sort of standoff and what's happening in terms of the TUC, that it's really personal, that it's Obi Ferguson desiring, I guess, personal perks and seeking out whatever that is for his gain, that is at the very center of his standoff with government. Your thoughts about I don't know, playing this kind of game on the people's time, the people's coin, and with the people's emotions.
One thing about Belinda Wilson, she don't pull no punches. She has always been a tell it like it is woman, and I think that's why she's been, 7 times elected? Mm-hmm. She stands up for what's right and she represents the views and opinions of her members. I think what she is trying to say to us is, you gone there, you open your big mouth, talking about this thing, the next thing. The agreement was good. You didn't get what you wanted, whatever you was trying to grease yourself with, rub yourself down to the side, whatever they promised you. And now, like they used to say, cry baby, sour line, watch your face and dirty lie. That's what you get now. Now you want to be cry baby and making it appear that the government didn't hold up their end of the bargain. When clearly Ms. Wilson is saying the agreement is good. It is just a personal agenda that is being pursued here. And that's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
Yeah, it looks at this as a two-edged sword. On one hand, she's in agreement that it was a good agreement. On the other hand, you have a leader of the organization who's putting self-interest above the followers' interests and those who make up the union. We'll see how it ends. I understand that they wanted a new building on Wolf Road that was going to cost in excess of $1 million. I don't see how the Bahamian people get involved in providing any entity with some building out of the funds that we get from our treasury, which belongs to the Bahamian people. So that didn't work out too good, I understand. And see what happens, political season, and these guys know exactly how to time things to raise hell at the right time. So we should see what happens. I appreciate Miss Belinda, her views. She's very strong in her views on things. But she's a very good unionist. She's been elected 7 times in a row. Mm-hmm. So the people love her, and they love what she stands for. So I think it's probably time for the leader of the organization to stand down.
The TUC, because I mean, if he is a distraction like this, and if you are letting personal desires and ambitions get in the way of what the national good is or the greater good is, then you are a distraction. And I'm not trying to speak against him, because he perhaps whatever it is he wanted to lobby for, he thought maybe he would have gotten it, and that But the thing is, you can't then stand in the way of other things happening, because you just have a sour taste in your mouth. By the way, before we wrap up tonight, I thank you for all my viewers. This is from Italy. A Bahamian, that's right, in Italy, watching right now. Shanique, this immigration Haitian issue is so vexing. As a Bahamian female, I had to go through the ropes and spend money to get my child Bahamian status because her father is a foreigner. There is no justice for Bahamian women. When will the government look out for Bahamians? So the show is great as always. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for watching that comment that I just read from Italy. Thank you so much. Justin, let me know if we have this. And so, I mean, of course, I'm grateful to the viewers. We know the views are basically all over, and we are grateful for you tuning in and chiming in as well. Continue to do so, especially in this season. Javier say, certainly, of course, I make every attempt to acknowledge them and read them and share them with everyone. And so we will continue doing that. Meantime, Energy Minister JoBeth Colby Davis is shedding light on the Bahamas Power and Light Company's ongoing issues. We see, of course, she suggests that the power provider role is in a chokehold. This comes despite the Davis administration's efforts to overhaul the country's energy sector through reform plans with hopes of providing a reliable energy system to Bahamians who have been expressing concern about an inefficient system officially attributed to outdated and worn out equipment attached to the power company now for many years. Take a listen.
Another thing that I was very transparent about was the debt that BPL is in, that $500+ million. And that is something that I have to continue to talk about. Because of that debt alone, we had to seek support from our partners. And that's why you would hear us talk about independent power producers coming under power purchase agreements, because people type of transformation
didn't understand it and made a big deal about it.
So let's tie in. Yeah. So the $500+ million that is BPL's debt restricts it from making the type of transformation over administrations, the type of transformation you would have need to see in BPL, that debt along with the cost. So it's going to be about billion plus
to do exactly
to
what
do
it is
what we're doing.
Needs to be done.
And the timeline that we have to do it. Energy is the most talked about topic globally. It is. The world has put an extreme demand on governments across the board.
And so there you have it, and I'll tell you, that was last night's show, by the way, and we went where the nation has never seen before and a part of BPL, and we were quite happy for that access. But, it's a real issue. It's a real issue with this overhaul. It must happen. Obviously, it will not happen as quickly as that, but there are many people, especially in places like Eleuthera, who continue to be vexed with the outages and yeah, it is. And because the good thing is, what's good about it then? It's nothing good, but here's the good thing. The economy is doing extremely well and BPL cannot keep up with the new demand. But it is quite vexing, again, really, whether it's residents, business owners, second homeowners, to have this ongoing issue. But of course, but it was quite an interesting show, Leslie and Gabrielle, to hear what's happening. We know of the outdated system. We've heard about this for decades, and now obviously it's perhaps even more outdated now in 2025.
And the minister touts over $1 billion to really cover the debt that BPL has and restore some sort of normalcy. All I could think about is when the little meme was out when our colleague here said, "You want to know why you could sweat?" Because anyway, my colleague, I can let you take that one because you're the former minister in charge. Leslie said, "You want to know why you could sweat? Why your lights off? All that different thing." Let's see what you say, because you say it. I say it. You say it.
I just simply said, your ass will sweat tonight. It's amazing to me, and it angers me in some respect that had we signed that agreement with AES back in 2005, that was on the table to provide us with LNG at no cost to Bahamian people. We were going to get $1.2 billion over 20 years through Florida Power and Light at Turkey Point, coming in from Bimini. And persons in this country were totally against it. There was a group. I was really unaware that time as the minister responsible that there was always those hanging in the shadows who knew exactly what they wanted to get. Unfortunately, they got it, and they're getting it now on the backs of the Bahamian people. Okay, where we were going to get the $1.2 billion, we got nothing. And now we're going to be loaded with all that is taking place. And no one is complaining because the F&M got their share, the PLP got their share, and everybody damn happy except the people of the Bahamas. And that's why I decided not to go back in cabinet in 2012, never again after that, because we had it, we had an opportunity to transform our country for the better. Petrocaribe, same situation, where we had a contract with Venezuela for 20 years that your fuel at the pump would never exceed $3.50. That didn't happen because you had other people there who had their own agenda that contradict totally with the agenda of the average working class Bahamian, and they won again. And that'll probably bother me until I go to my grave. But that's how life is in this country.
I tell you, we all obviously are rooting for this BPL energy reform to take place because it's vexing, it's costly. I know, in fact, I want to say this, if you didn't hear that, those islands, particularly those 3 islands that just continue to go through it, you will receive another rebate for this month. And I think it's the fuel surcharge, I was told by the CEO, remains the same throughout the end of September. That is a promise to everyone as well.
You have to appreciate that Shell Weston can do what they want to do because BEC now owes them about $600 million, and no one is talking about how that debt is going to be paid by all of these little companies to get all these beautiful contracts. Who's going to contribute? Is the Treasury now going to pay that $600 million and also take over the responsibility for the retirement fund? That's another probably $500 million again. Remember what happened to BTC? That's what concerns me.
I thank you both very much. Of course, at the top of tonight's show, I thank former Tourism Minister and Member of Parliament Dionisio D'Aguilar for joining me, and as well the Hot Topics panelists here, Leslie Miller and Gabrielle McKinsey. Thank you so much. It's good to have you both here, weighing in on the issues and being the voice of the people. And to all of you this evening, thank you for watching. It's been awesome having you hang out this evening. I look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.